Hello YouTube, Chris Russell here, author of the Songs About a Girl trilogy. Welcome to Ask Me Anything Part 2. Isabel Dixon asks, who is your favourite character from the series and why? I think it would have to be Yuki Harrison from Fire&Lights. Yuki has always been my favourite. I get the impression that he is a fan favourite as well. He's just such a lovely guy. He has such a sweet friendship with Charlie. I think the thing that I like most about Yuki is that I get to spend the best part of a year coming up with his jokes, which makes him significantly wittier than I could ever hope to be in real life. Between the Pages asks, are the boys in Fire&Lights based on your real life bandmates? Some of you will know by now that I'm in a band myself, a band called the Light Years that I started when I was about 13. I will admit that the name Fire&Lights is a kind of cheeky reference to the Light Years, but the band members themselves are not based on my bandmates. Most of us in the band now are pushing 40. It would be a bit odd to base a sort of band of like hot, famous 18-year-olds on us. Although, having said that, when Between the Pages asked me this question on Instagram, my best friend and lead singer, George, intervened, saying, if any of the Fire&Lights boys are based on your bandmates, which one am I? And that reminded me that I had actually based one of my characters on George. When I was writing the character of Olly Samson, I knew that Olly was just a guy who was just good through and through. He was a really genuine, thoughtful, kind person, sort of the ultimate gentleman in the best sense of that word. And actually, that's what George is like. That's the reason he's my best mate. And so in many ways, Olly is actually based, at least loosely, on George. Next, Shonderground asks, if you could attend any gig in history, which one would you choose and why? Now, full disclosure, Shonderground is actually my baby brother, although he's not an actual baby. I think I'd probably have to say Guns N' Roses at the LA Troubadour in 1985, during those like early months when they just formed the classic Appetite for Destruction lineup. I think that band in that venue in that city would have been pant-wettingly exciting to see. And now Stubbs etc. asks, tell us about the best sandwich you've ever had. I do love a good sandwich, and actually this takes me back to when George and I were first trying to get the band off the ground and we were working as builders. Yeah, that's right. Me, a builder. I mean, what? Madness. And we would spend all day like labouring, and it would make us really hungry and also quite bored. So we would spend all day talking about what we were going to cook when we got home. And one day we got home from work and we were so hungry, we decided to make a fry-up, like a whole massive fry-up, but put it in a sandwich, like a triple layered sandwich that used pretty much half a loaf of bread and hundreds of eggs and sausages and beans and so on. And this began a kind of terrible habit, which we then came to affectionately term the Big Sandwich Company, which was a business that we thought we might start one day. And you have your big breakfast sandwich, you have your big club sandwich, your big curry sandwich. We did round the world in a sandwich where each quadrant was a different geographical cuisine. The sandwiches were so big that you could only really eat one a week. But then this sort of grew and developed into other kind of intensive eating, such as we once cooked a 4-foot-long fajita, which we called El Very Massive Fajita. And in fact, it all eventually culminated in us cooking something which we called Pig Ben, which was a scale replica of Big Ben, made entirely from pork products. Right, M Grace 99 asks, what's the best thing about being part of a band? And that's pretty simple. It's the camaraderie. You know, it's having this gang of people around you. We're in the band. We're all very close friends. We've been performing together for years. And for me, the fact that I get to get up on stage with my best and closest friends and perform music is it's the best feeling in the world. Right, Lenny Jones asks, if your house was burning down and you could only grab one thing, what would you grab? She did specify that this does not include, that we are assuming that relatives and pets are all accounted for. So it's which physical possession would you grab out of your house if it was burning down? I thought about this a lot. Obviously, it would be something that no amount of money could replace. And this is my answer. This is the Fender Stratocaster that I wrote my first ever song on with George when we were about 13. Now, funnily enough, about 12 years ago, my house actually did burn down, and that's why this guitar is all blackened and charred. We lost just about everything in that fire, but fortunately the guitar survived, and I think I would have been very sad if it hadn't. Next, Maureen Murray asks, when are you coming back to Riverton? Now, this question is a bit of a wild card. Most of you, in fact, none of you will understand what it's about, but I thought I'd put it in anyway. Riverton is a teeny little town in Pennsylvania in America that my band has toured to a number of times. It's a fantastic place, lovely people, incredible food. They have even put a little plaque, one of the porches has a little plaque on it saying the light years played here. We love everyone there, especially Maureen. Maureen, I'm sorry we haven't been there in a while. I personally am planning a trip to New York at some point reasonably soon. Not necessarily with the rest of the band, but if I do come to America, then I will make sure to stop in and see you guys. Gwen Lotero asks, have you ever thought of making your trilogy into a movie? I guess the answer is all authors dream of this at some point or another. The first thing to say is that it's not up to an author whether or not their book gets turned into a film or a TV show. The way it works is you will get approached potentially by a sort of an exterior production company who then seek to option your book. And you know, it's in that sense it's kind of out of an author's hands. I have had interest in the past, but I can't really talk about it. So what I will say is the thing that concerns me most about the Songs About a Girl potential movie franchise is making sure I get my cameo in there nice and early, like a good cameo. What I'm thinking is maybe me with a golden keytar being lowered to the stage by 1,000 turtle doves. If you think you can achieve that, then do feel free to call my agent. Zoe Bowker asks, is there anything you can tell us about what goes on in Songs About a Boy? Maybe a few teasers? Well, I like to keep my cards fairly close to my chest on this kind of stuff, but as most of you know by now, it's set in America, so there's lots of like delicious food and hot dogs and hilarity and hijinks and other things beginning with H. There's lots of drama and intrigue and intensity and pop music and swooning and fangirling and fanboying. And the bottom line is I'm just very excited for you all to read it. In a related question, Ili Halim asks, when will Songs About a Boy be released? It's coming out on the 9th of August this year, so that's pretty soon now. I'm going to put the links for pre-ordering the novel in the box below, so please do go out there and nab your copy. Okay, and we're done. Thanks for watching. As always, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face here, and stay tuned for my next video. Cheers.